You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Ready for February to be over.
Yeah, man, I'm just glad we get paid on Friday.
Yeah, I think we do too, actually, now that I think about it.
You get paid every month or every 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Okay.
Or it's like it's twice a month, so it's like the 15th and the end of the month. Yeah.
Last day of the game. I didn't know if y'all were on like state schedule or whatever.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, like state employees, like I'm sure Jackie gets paid once a month, right?
I assume so. That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she's probably on a pay schedule like I am, where we get paid on the first. I have air quotes around the first. Basically, our check goes in the last banking day of the month. So.
Okay, that makes sense.
That would be Friday.
Of this month.
Yeah. That's how I get this. I get paid late. She gets paid. So.
Nice. Gets paid.
Yeah. We like to joke at work. Yeah, for a week we eat steak. And then for 3 weeks we eat beanie weenies, just waiting for the next damn check. Shit. It's like, man, for like 24 hours, my bank account looks great. I'm like, shit, yeah, man, I got some money. And then all those bills come out, and then on the third, it's like, shit, I got how many days till I get some more money? Damn it. So what the hell is this crap? It's like literally how many packs of ramen come in a case? Oh, it's brutal.
It's not great.
It's brute, man. It's brute.
Great cologne, I assume.
Here we are. Living lives like superstars.
Oh, I thought we were doing the Imagine Dragons song.
Oh, I don't know the Imagine Dragons.
Here we are, don't turn away now. We are the warriors that built this. Oh God, it's so great.
That's great.
Gotta love America's favorite non-threatening rock band, Imagine Dragons. They usurped that title from Maroon 5. That's skanky little asshole.
Yeah, as soon as Adam Levine, that's his name. Yeah, as soon as he stripped down at the Super Bowl, it was like,
God, that first CD was still so good from them. Jesus Christ, that was really good.
Yes, it was. The first two Maroon 5 CDs were real good.
Second one is actually really good.
Songs About Jane was fantastic.
My dad still contends, well, granted, I think he's not alive, so he can't actually do that anymore. But when he was alive,
he took his opinion to the grave with him.
Exactly. There you go. He always believed that is one of the cleanest and best studio produced albums he's ever heard in his life. And I'm like, yeah.
Songs About Jane?
Yeah.
It is really good. When you really sit down and listen to it,
yeah, it's
like, wow, this is really great work.
Yeah.
I agree with them. Like the production value, the way the sounds come off. Yeah, it's a fantastic album.
Yeah, the second one, it won't be soon before long. Is the second one
right? The second one had some really good songs on it.
Yeah,
but it didn't really pack the overall punch of nothing they've done since as a full album. Has packed the punch of Songs About Jane.
Yeah, still good though. Still good.
Yeah, they do play good music. I'm not ashamed to say I like Maroon 5.
It had some what the kids these days would call, I believe, bangers.
I'm just waiting for the day that Maroon 5 set out on tour and Nickelback opens for them. Tickets will be readily available.
I saw them in Raleigh on
Nickelback?
no Maroon 5.
Oh, I've seen Nickelback twice, so what can I say?
I saw Maroon 5 after they released their second album, and they were with Sarah Bareilles right before she exploded, and Counting Crows was the middle act.
I remember that tour.
Yeah, I actually met her that day. She was really cool too.
Counting Crows are such an interesting band to me because I love their studio albums and literally want to take a hatchet to them when I see them live.
They weren't great. I went with my ex at the time, or I mean, we were dating at the time. She wasn't my ex then, and we actually skipped most of the Counting Crows part because it was just like, it's fine. I mean, they're good. They're good on like in the studio, but live it's just kind of.
Well, and it's like they refuse to do their live sets. It's like they purposely change and do the songs different than they do on the album.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, I understand. I get where you're coming from. You're an artist. You're above all these peasants who, buy your album and make you millions of dollars. I understand you're smarter than all of us. And, you're great and super talented. But, I hate to say this because, I am that guy. When I go to a concert, especially at, say, Walnut Creek, where there's 20,000 people there.
Yeah, that's where we saw.
I'm not there to hear your artistic interpretation. I'm there to hear the song that I'm there to hear the songs that I like, that you put on the album that I spent money on. That's how I want to hear the damn song.
So I am of two minds because I agree with you, but I remember when we saw Linkin Park in concert there, and they do it on every one of their shows. I noticed after like the first or second year it came out, when they would close like almost every one of their shows with Faint and Bleed It Out, and those are both like 2.5 minute songs. And so what they would do is they would play it exactly the way it is on the album, like perfectly, and then at the end there would be this like insane like drum breakdown outro for like 2 minutes. And I'm like, that's cool. Because like the song itself is the same, but you like tack on this like extra little bit at the end. Like, and that to me is fine. Like as long as the rest of the song is normal, like I'm good with that. So I appreciate that. Also, that's probably really different because Linkin Park did
right. I don't mind if you add a little something to it.
Yeah.
But basically, when it takes me like 3 minutes to figure out that you're singing Mr. Jones, because you're doing it like so slow and sad sounding, it's like, wait a damn minute, dude. This is like your anthem song. This is all about, I understand that you've played it a million times. You might be tired of it that way. But you know what? 20,000 people in Raleigh, North Carolina wanted to hear Mr. Jones the way Mr. Jones was written. It's not your sad version because, as an artist, I'm tired of singing that song. Tell you what, why don't you refund us the money? Oh, you're not doing that, are you? Still taking royalty checks on that song, eh? Then play the song. You can add some stuff in there. Hey, you want to throw a guitar solo or a drum solo or change a word or two? That's fine. But don't change the entire way that the song was done. I don't think Led Zeppelin ever did like a reggae version of Stairway to Heaven. You go to a Rolling Stones concert, when they play Start Me Up, they're playing Start Me Up. When they do Jumpin' Jack Flash, they're doing Jumpin' Jack Flash. It doesn't take me 6 minutes to figure out what song you're playing because it's like, oh man, that's my favorite song. Really? This is my favorite song? Shit. Sucks. So, yeah. I went with Braxton and saw them, and Braxton's like a diehard Counting Crows fan. And he was so pissed off at me by the end of that because I'm like, this sucks. He's like, shut up. See, he knew what to expect because he listened to like a lot of their live stuff.
Mm.
So he knew what to expect. I'm sort of like, dude, why are they going to play anything I know? He's like, they are playing what you know, you dummy. You have to listen to it. And I'm like, I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to have to interpret it. I want to hear the song that I like.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. Suck it, Adam Dirt.
Would you say Nickelback is the trashiest group you've seen live?
As in they're just
No, like...
Because I've seen Kid Rock.
Okay, then.
And I mean, I like Kid Rock, and he was great. He was a great concert, don't get me wrong. But I mean, you just knew that he was like, you just knew what Kid Rock was doing later.
Yeah.
So...
Okay. That's... Because I saw in Greenville when I was a senior in high school. It was like one of the local radio stations there put it on. It was like this whole like long day thing. And it was like at the middle of the fairgrounds and it was super trashy. Second to last act was Breaking Benjamin. And they were great. Even though the lead singer was drunk and thought he was in Greenville, South Carolina. Didn't matter. They were still great. But the lead group, which we left half or like a quarter of the way through because we were just like, nah, we're done, was Puddle of Mud. And I'm pretty sure that's the trashiest it ever got.
Gosh.
Yeah, I did go...
I liked a couple of the songs that we all liked.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I wasn't trying to go see Puddle of Mud.
Yeah, I did. I went to a concert that featured Buck Cherry. Did not say, I got there after they performed though, because they like performed really early in the day. And I was like, I'm gonna just skip you guys and see someone else. Thanks. All right. Well, there you go. Podcast over. Good job. We'll be back next week for more.
All right.
for more.
And good night, Madrid. Jesus Christ, you need that sound now.
Oh man. Oh, just kidding. We're just beginning here on the Foreign Affair podcast.
Just kidding. We're gonna hammer you, Sergio Ramos.
Oh,
ready, friend?
Yeah.
We will take pure pleasure in doing this.
Oh, your nap is not ready yet, boys. It's about an hour and a half from now. Welcome everyone to the Foreign Affair podcast, episode 303. Don't trust a hoe, like Sergio Ramos, as we dive into the Premier League review from this past weekend. And of course, we're going to go really hard into the Champions League second week of round of 16 play. We will do that. We will, of course, have news and notes as well, and a little bit of watch for at the end. As always, the podcast is presented by NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. We never stop. Hopefully the XFL doesn't stop, even though it had another massive ratings drop in its third week of action. Definitely
sucks, man, because I'm gonna tell you, it's really actually a pretty damn good product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is a really good TV product.
That's all I've heard, is that they really learned from their first mistakes. So.
Oh man, we talked about production values.
Mm.
XFL's production value is really good, and they're innovative.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they had like real talent on the field, it would seriously be a really good product.
Yeah, once I read the first week reviews and like how it was like a lot different from the first XFL, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna watch it because I don't watch football anymore, but I can get behind this idea and say, okay, yeah, this should exist, but it's already looking a little dicey. So we've had the AFL already failed. I think that's what it was called, right? The American Football League? Yeah. Was that thing last
like
year?
In the 60s?
No, like there was something last year that was like a.
I don't know. That was. See, I'm an old World Football League guy. Raleigh Skyhawks.
Oh yeah.
Good time, man.
Good times. So.
Good times. Steve Logan coached like the Ryan Fire or something.
I remember that. Awesome. My old neighbor Steve Logan. So that's for nobody on this podcast. We will be getting into plenty of actual football now as we take a quick pass at the Premier League. Not a ton to talk about, but we can talk about a little bit. Southampton gets past Aston Villa 2-0. thanks to a early strike from Shane Long that put the game out of reach. He's still going strong in his 30s. Shane Long doesn't score many goals, but when he does, he makes them count. Palace beats Newcastle 1-0 through a 44th minute goal from Patrick van Aanholt. Sheffield United and Brighton and Hove draw 1-1 to split the points. Sheffield United just stay up in that top echelon, looking to maybe punch into a Champions League place. Big weeks to come here for them as they try to solidify a potential top 5 slot. Burnley cruised past Bournemouth, 3-0. In what I guess would be the match of the day, Leicester falls to Manchester City 1-0 on an 80th minute goal from Gabriel Jesus. Jesus' week would only get better, as we'll get into a little bit later on. Man United just cruises past Watford 3-0. Bruno Fernandes with the penalty in the 42nd minute, his first goal for United after joining them from the winter transfer period. Wolves beat down Norwich 3-0. Diogo Jota with another brace in this one, quickly becoming maybe, on a team that has Adama Traore, maybe one of the best players on the team. Jota doing very, very well. We'll be talking about him later in our hyper-fast Europa League recap. And then Arsenal and Everton actually played what some people have described as an entertaining football match. Arsenal do get by 3-2, thanks once again to the man I had once dubbed as Player of the Year, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He has another 2 goals in this one, including the winner in the 46th minute to beat Everton 3-2 and stop their advancement up the table. And then, I guess we can start with this one. It almost happened. We apparently made the soccer gods very mad when we downplayed this match last week and made fun of Moyes, which is funny because we make fun of Moyes every week. Didn't think it would actually come back to bite us this week. Liverpool 3, West Ham 2, as it went down at Anfield. Gigi Wijnaldum put Liverpool out in front. Looked, you assume for good in the 9th minute.
Yeah, you were like, oh, okay, well, everything's going according to script here.
That's how that goes. And then just 3 minutes later, Issa Diop dropped his new mixtape and made it 1-1 to the shock of many at Anfield. And then about 40 minutes later of match time, they would get an even bigger shock as West Ham actually took the lead through Pablo Fornals. Liverpool would respond, though, in the closing stages, first through Mo Salah in the 68th minute, and then the eventual winner from Sadio Mane in peak form in the 81st. What was not in peak form was a lot of the goalkeeping in this match, both the normally reliable Alisson as well as the usually reliable Lucas Fabianski with some not very good saves attempts in this one that led to goals. But hey, what's a win's a win?
Absolutely. when you're chasing immortality and greatness, and when the goal is to be the Centurion Invincibles, well, yeah, shit, you take a win how you can take a win. As I saw someone say at halftime, I don't know what's been worse, Liverpool's defending or the fans. Was not a vintage Anfield night. I think part of that came down to the fact that, it was West Ham on a Monday night. They don't quite treat Monday Night Football in England like they do in America, where Monday night, oh man, that's where you want to be. In England, it's like, shit, we had to wait a fucking weekend, and now we got to get there on a work night. And then they come out and they score in 9 minutes. And I mean, Anfield, like I said, it's like, okay, it's going according to script. We'll score a few more and we'll cruise on home with this bad boy. And then suddenly it's like, oh shit, they scored. It's like, we'll take care of it. And then suddenly in the second half, it's like, oh shit, what the hell just happened? It's like, wait a minute, how the hell are we losing to West Ham at home in the second half? Is that God, that's David Moyes' music. What the hell? add on top of it a very ineffective showing from Naby Keita. Of course, Liverpool missing the captain, Jordan Henderson, who is on the short list for PFA Player of the Year, having his best season ever for Liverpool. Really missed Jordan. Naby Keita wasn't doing it. The introduction of the Ox. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain comes on, completely changes that game. Liverpool went from trying to get out of second gear to suddenly looking like the flashy sports car that Klopp may take out on the Autobahn. Looking like a real Porsche all of a sudden, were Liverpool, as they really just cranked it up. And maybe a fortuitous goal from Mo Salah. And then the winner for Sadio Mane actually scored a fourth that was rightfully waved off after a VAR review for offside. But once Oxlade-Chamberlain got out there, Liverpool looked just completely inevitable. West Ham had absolutely no answer for it. And at the end of the day, I mean, Liverpool outplayed them. Liverpool were the better team on the night. It just took them a while to get going. But victory is victory, and pretty much that's how Liverpool just goes about this year. They just fucking win. As I saw someone said, for 90 minutes, 22 men play a game and Liverpool win.
Because there's no Germans. The German was involved. That's the secret. Which side had more Germans?
Which side had the German manager?
There you go. There you go.
Go on. But I mean, that's been the script this year. Liverpool just kind of flipped it, played it a little differently. Figure what the hell? Let's make the fans have some excitement in their lives.
Hey.
And Liverpool rolled on. I believe I heard that was their 11th one-goal victory of the Premier League season, which is where this is really where the kind of amazingness of this season is, because you just figure in so many one-goal matches, you're going to end up on the wrong side of one. Somebody's going to get a late draw, and you're going to have a few draws in there. And Liverpool are really just, I mean, they're turning the numbers upside down and just doing their thing. And they are having an absolutely historic season. I believe, are they 11 matches left this season, I believe? I think this was match 27.
Yes.
11 matches left, and when they're over, we'll determine, was this the greatest Premier League side of all time? They're obviously on track for it. I mean, they're on track to blow away, the unassailable 100-point City mark. They're on track to just destroy that. They could become the second ever Premier League invincibles. And don't forget, Arsenal. Arsenal drew a dozen matches that season. Liverpool already have as many wins as United in the treble season, the famous treble season, 98-99. And it's February. They've already won as many games as that United team. It's incredible. It's amazing to watch. Has it lacked some of the what's the word? The panache or some of the drama that you would associate? Yeah. Has it bothered Wes one bit this season? No. You know what? Here's what I say. Let's go ahead. Let's get this 30-year monkey off our back. And you know what? Maybe next year, the year after, let's have a proper title race with somebody. I'm fine then. We're playing with house money at that point. For now, shit, I couldn't have asked for a better way for this to go because I'm not having a coronary every week. So, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Liverpool get the job done. They were the best team on the day and deserving winners.
13
one-goal matches?
Yep.
Okay. I knew it was around that number. I was trying to think off the top of my head.
I had to go through their schedule 6 times because every time I did it, I came up with a different number and I couldn't figure out what the hell was happening. So yeah, 13.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a different type of run that Liverpool are having compared to what City did a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Where City City got 100 points and were just blowing people off the field.
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool aren't doing that. Liverpool are just going out, doing what they need to do, and getting their result at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's a totally different kind of phenomenon. With City, it was always like, well, how many are they going to score this week?
Mm-hmm.
How amazing is it going to be this week? But with Liverpool, it's a much more workmanlike, more of a grinded out, even though they can go and really score with about anyone in the world. And I just sent you a meme.
Mm-hmm.
I
do love memes.
It is the laughing. It is a picture of a man laughing. It says Manchester United. It says, will you draw Liverpool to prevent them from equaling the all-time top-flight win streak? And then his face is like, it says, when they win the next 18 in a row and equal it 4 months later anyway. With the win, Liverpool, they do equal the Premier League record for consecutive victories.
Mm-hmm.
And this Saturday, I believe it's Saturday against Watford, with a victory, they will set a Premier League record for most consecutive victories. Watford, not exactly living their best lives at the moment, so... but hey, neither was West Ham, and we saw what happened. So we'll see what happens this weekend. But Liverpool a chance to make some more history this week.
And we shall see if they do it against, as Wes said, a struggling Watford team again who just got blown out by Manchester United. And then finally,
no wins in their last 5.
Yeah, not a very good stretch after Watford had started to show a little bit of life in the Premier League.
They got the new manager bout.
Yep, they went on a streak of winning 4 out of 5 back in the end of the holiday period, which did include wins over United and Wolves. So there was that, but unfortunately, they have crashed back down to earth after that new manager bounce. And are going to be crashing very hard, having United and Liverpool back-to-back weeks. And of course, they get to end the season with City and Arsenal back-to-back. So, good luck, boys. Good luck. Our final match of the week was the showdown that was more of a meh kind of result. Chelsea and Tottenham play to a 2-1 Chelsea victory. Tottenham only scoring late through an Antonio Rudiger own goal, because, hey, even when Chelsea's doing well, Rudiger is still pretty bad. The goals for Chelsea coming through Olivier Giroud, who, of course, was almost going to go to Tottenham during the winter transfer window, and Marcos Alonso in the 48th minute. There was some of the controversy, as they like to say, in this match, coming over when Gio Lo Celso did not get a red card, even though VAR looked at it and said it wasn't, and then they came back after and said, yeah, maybe it should have been. That was a little rough. There was also the note of Rudiger, of course, making news from the reverse fixture when he claimed that there was racist chants directed at him. And then after a very, very long investigation period, basically the results came back with, well, we can't say for sure there wasn't, but we can't prove there was either through all the evidence we have. So, sorry, can't really do anything about it. And then Rudiger did a little, oh, woe is me, I am the only one to stick up for racism, and this is bullshit message, which is great, because, you know, you're definitely the only one in England who stands up for racism, Antonio Rudiger. It's just you. That's
right.
For
you
sure.
know, we can't stand Raheem Sterling on a personal basis, but yeah, Raheem Sterling's never stood up to racism.
No, not at all. That guy would never do it. And all the players of that kind who went to Montenegro with the England team and got cheered at, no, they would never stand up for racism. Never. Anyway, back to the match on the field. Of course, Tottenham also showing that without their two best strikers, things aren't going to be super great. That is going to be very, very tough. Josie going with 5 at the back, not able to prevent them from scoring a pair of goals. And you just have to think, Wes, with Tottenham's upcoming schedule here, still a chance in the Champions League, although that will be very tough. But Wolves, Burnley, and then Manchester United coming up here in the Premier League. I feel like we said this exact moment last year as well, but I feel like this early stretch in March will tell us a lot about Tottenham's season. And of course, last year, they sucked in the Premier League and made it to the Champions League final. Still in the FA Cup, still in the Champions League for now, still with an outside chance of making it into a Champions League spot. I know we keep saying, hey, no, Tottenham's finally going to do it. They're starting to run out of time, though, to with only 11 matches left to make that final push.
And I really hate to say, but just my eyes are telling me right now, no Sonny. I don't see Tottenham having the firepower to get into what really right now all you need to be is in 5th place.
Yeah.
I'm having a really, really hard time convincing myself that Tottenham are going to find that 5th place. It's just it's been a really brutal hand that's been dealt to Josie. No, I'd say, I mean, let's not get it twisted. Josie, his salary may not say this. This is not the Josie of old. And I wouldn't say it's so much anything that Josie particularly has done. It's just that Josie's style is not. Josie has a style that he plays that really isn't consistent this day and age with top football teams. And you know what? I can't tell you another way. I mean, in the early 2000s, when he won it with Inter, when he had some great teams at Real Madrid, that's what they did, and damn it, they were so good at it. This is not then. I'm not one to say the game has passed Jose Mourinho by, because it hasn't. Jose Mourinho is a brilliant manager. God, watching him as an analyst last year was just amazing.
It was great.
As he analyzed and broke down things, it was amazing. But when it comes to putting it into practice and getting out on the field with things, I don't think Josie is any longer in the same stratosphere with the Klopps and the Peps and what's going on at Bayern Munich, what's going on at Real Madrid. Josie's just not quite there anymore.
I would say, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and I think unfortunately for Tottenham, the injuries have really exacerbated that a little bit.
Yeah.
I think if he had a healthy Kane and a healthy Son, I'm not going to say it would be completely different, but obviously he would have a much better shot at getting into that top 4. I don't think Mourinho is built to be upper echelon elite anymore.
I think the things he lacks. The problem with Josie is that I don't want to say he's inflexible, but he has a style, and it doesn't seem like he really wants to change it. We saw him try to be a little more aggressive when he first came to Spurs, but when you what Josie needs is a solid back line and a target number 9. And he doesn't have either of those two things right now at Tottenham. So he, in a lot of ways, is trying to have to kind of duct tape this together and MacGyver it on a week-to-week basis and see what happens. Now, I think it's totally fair to say that with him succeeding for so long with this one style and not super adapting as a manager to being able to play other styles, that is hurting him right now. But I would be, because we know Harry Kane, when healthy, is a fantastic target man 9. He's amazing. And we do know at one point back 4 years ago, Spurs had an amazing defensive back line. If you could put those things together with Josie, I think this team, I'm not saying they'd win the Premier League. No. But I think this would easily become that top 3 team we kind of thought they could be, and would be someone that would be challenging for the Champions League trophy. I don't think he's that far away, and I don't think his system can't work. I just think it has very specific win conditions. And when you don't have the players around it who can execute those win conditions, it looks really bad. Even in the win like against Aston Villa, it looked bad. In the win against Man City, it looked bad. In the loss to Liverpool, it looked bad. Even though again Tottenham had chances at the end to take a point, it looked bad. And I don't think I think that's just part of Josie's style being very pragmatic and defensive. And when you have better players in those positions, it can look like attractive football. Even it can look, to go back to the NFL for a second, it looks less current Chicago Bears who try to play defense and fail miserably at it, and more like those that LSU Alabama game that was 9-6 back 8-9 years ago, whenever it was. And everybody was like, that may have been a game of 5 field goals, but that's one of the best motherfucking football games I ever watched. And that's when Josie's at his peak, that's what it is. But when the team looks like this, it just does not work. So I don't know if it's Josie's inflexibleness or if it's just the players not fully adapting. I mean, if he has an entire summer to work with these guys, thank you, Euro 2020, maybe this starts to look a little better. I don't know. I'm certainly not ready to throw in the towel on Josie. I know there are some people who are. You people are insane. But I do know that we are seeing the limits of what Josie can do with a team, especially, as you said, in this day and age. And with the way the meta of football is changing a lot, which is super unfortunate for Tottenham right now.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I mean, for Tottenham themselves, are in a real transition period themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Where obviously you've got guys who, are they going to stay? Are they going to go? Some of the shining star has fallen a little bit on some of their stars. Harry Kane with the injury. Dele, just whatever the hell's kind of happened with Dele the last few seasons. He certainly, he hasn't been the player who was so highly touted his first couple of seasons for Tottenham. Alderweireld was arguably one of the best central defenders in the world a couple of years ago. And that's fallen away. We've talked in the past about Hugo Lloris showing some decline in his game. This is a Spurs team who went from being the youngest team in the Premier League, and then it seemed to suddenly you're like, shit, they're old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, no, yesterday they were young and vibrant and fresh, and today they're creaking and falling apart. What just happened here? So it's kind of a time of uproar, I guess, at Spurs a little bit. Not only that, you've got the new stadium, which how much is that going to preclude spending?
Mm-hmm.
In the summer, Mourinho's going to want money.
Oh, yeah.
Mourinho's going to want his funds. Mourinho wants his greens. Is he going to have to get them by selling?
Mm-hmm.
How much is Daniel Levy going to open up, especially not having Champions League money this year if they don't make the Champions League?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of player are they going to be in for if they don't have Champions League to offer?
Mm-hmm.
And you're offering to play for Mourinho, who, I mean, let's be real. How long-term is Mourinho as a manager?
That's very true.
Hasn't exactly been a sterling track record. So, what kind of player are you in for? How much are you going to have to spend? It is I guess the word I'll use is somewhat a precarious moment in the history of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
They are a team that had staked their flag as, hey, we're a year in, year
mm-hmm.
top 4 team. Their stated goal is, hey, top 4 Champions League. Whatever else happens, let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time in a good while this year, we're seeing, oh, shit,
mm-hmm.
this is not looking good.
Yeah.
Tottenham have money, but Tottenham don't have oil. Tottenham are not as willing to open up the checkbook as, say, FSG are at
mm-hmm.
Liverpool. FSG have done it wisely, but still, they've known at times, okay, hey, it's time to go open the purse strings, and we need these guys to take us to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid Tottenham haven't shown that ambition. And with not having Champions League and having the uncertainty of a Mourinho future, that could lead to an interesting summer for Spurs fans that they may not be very happy with come August.
And I think just my last point, and then we'll move on from this. I think one of the other things that's just playing against Tottenham and we've been seeing this for other clubs over the past maybe 4 or 5 years, really since Tottenham kind of went into their ascendancy. There's only 4 Champions League spots, and
mm-hmm.
there's Liverpool, there's Manchester City, there's Chelsea, there's Tottenham, there's Manchester United, and then there's Arsenal. And now, in the last 2 years, well, there's Wolves. They're also now really good. There's Sheffield United, which somehow are really good. We're still not sure totally how, but they are really good. There's, God forbid, don't talk about them too much, but hey, there is Everton just hiding out there that may one day make that final leap up. It's so much harder to consistently, I think, make the Champions League now. And that's not an excuse for Tottenham and their failures in the transfer market. But I do think that's a reality for some of these clubs is it's really damn hard to get one of those 4 spots.
I'll tell you, looking back, do you think, I'll ask you this first.
Uh-huh.
Knowing what you know today, if given the choice, would you have gone Mourinho wanted to push for Ancelotti?
That's really tough.
Ancelotti's done a darn good job at Everton.
Yeah.
Considering he's at Everton.
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. Because I don't know how much of a shelf life that has either. In a different way from Mourinho, but I think there is still a shelf life on that. And I also just wonder, if all these injuries still happen, is Ancelotti getting a lot out of this team? I don't know. That's my big question. If everybody was healthy and Spurs were failing, I would be like, yeah, okay, maybe that would have been the better option. But because of the injuries, I don't know. Like that's
Well, no, of
that's
course,
my
at the
problem.
time, Ancelotti. So, I mean, now looking at it with some hindsight, well, Harry Kane being hurt, some being hurt. Yeah, they weren't hurt with Mourinho.
That's true.
Carlo would have had them, roaring, ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Mourinho, in hindsight, point with Mourinho, for the first time, the pragmatic Daniel,
Mm-hmm.
I think, lost his pragmatism
Mm-hmm.
and was like, shit, I can get Jose Mourinho.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big name. That's a big time, guy. We're going to own the headlines.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that didn't really play in train of thought,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a somewhat bizarre appointment at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think anything that's happened has really dampened that train of thought.
Yeah.
Where you're still sitting there like, was this really the best choice for Tottenham?
Mm-hmm.
With the personnel available, with how they are used to playing, was really the best choice we could get. Carlo was out. And like I said, you look at Everton and, oh God, as gross as it is to say it, Everton, right now, if I looked at you and said, put the deed to your house down on the line, who's finishing higher, Everton or Tottenham?
Well, I will say this: Everton's next three are United, Chelsea, Liverpool.
And we're going to win the league at Goodison.
Exactly, and then they have Norwich, and then it's Leicester, Tottenham. So, they still have, and then they still have Wolves left too. So they have most of the top part of the table left to go, and they just lost to Arsenal. So
it's going to be interesting by the time they get to who are sitting at that moment.
Yeah,
that's one to really keep an eye on, because that could come down. That could be one that both of those teams are circling as, this has somehow turned into a big game for us.
Yeah.
And, we got to go win this match. 4 points separate them right now.
Mm-hmm.
Tottenham's sitting on 40. Everton's sitting on 36. But really, when you look at the form since both managers have come in,
mm-hmm.
it's been a Carlo.
I will say this, and this is an insane stat, but it is true. I've checked. Since Josie took over, Tottenham have accumulated the third most points in the Premier League, behind only Liverpool and Manchester City.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. I know, but I think they just haven't looked very good doing it, but they did it somehow. I'm still not totally sure how, but they went on a bit of a streak to start off with, and then they had managed to back up enough wins. And you got to remember, the rest of the league hasn't been super consistent either. Like, Leicester kind of fell off, as much as the third place team could have, they fell off a cliff.
I think Leicester have realized that they're, especially now with City in the trouble they're in, I think Leicester have realized that they are comfortably, they're basically right now separating them and Man, which, could be, let's taking Man City out. Okay, if we take Man City out right now, Tottenham are the first team out looking in. There's 10 points between Leicester and Tottenham.
Yeah.
I think, and Leicester don't have any other, anything but the Champions League left.
Right.
Or Champions League, I'm sorry, anything but the league. Champions League, no, you're right.
Right.
I think right now Leicester are very comfortable that they're in an extremely good position to qualify.
Yeah.
So they're not having to go balls to the wall right now.
Certainly.
They're in a great spot. They're in as good a spot as anybody not named Liverpool can be in.
Yeah. So
for Leicester, I think they're kind of in.
So
yeah.
Yeah, insane stat. Didn't realize it, but then you just start looking around and you're like, well, you've been kind of shitty, and you've been kind of shitty, and you've been kind of shitty, and you've been kind of oh my god, that's true. And also, I want to say Tottenham were in 14th when Josie took over, and now they're in 6th. So it's really weird. It's really, really weird. Anyway, moving into the rest of the league, the schedule for next week. Friday Night Football starts us off at 3 p.m. If you think they get up for Monday matches in England, just wait till you see Friday. 3 p.m. at Carroll Road, Norwich taking on Leicester. Then on Saturday, you have 7:30, Brighton and Hove versus Palace. Newcastle versus Burnley starts at 10, along with West Ham, Southampton, Bournemouth versus Chelsea. And then at 12:30, the aforementioned Watford versus Liverpool match kicks off at Vicarage Road. On Sunday, you will have 2 matches to look at. Everton versus Manchester United. Everton going to what I believe Wes and I would lovingly call a crucible for their season. Starts at Goodison Park. And also at 9 a.m., Tottenham versus Wolves. So 2 pretty big matches on Sunday, March 1st. So go check those out. Take a quick look at the table here. Again, Liverpool running away with the league. City are in 2nd, but it may not matter. Leicester are in 3rd, 6 points up on Chelsea in 4th place. United 3 points back of them in 5th. And Tottenham and Sheffield United 1 point back of United. At the bottom of your heart, the relegation zone, Aston Villa find themselves just on the outside. West Ham and Watford both 1 point back in relegation. Norwich 7 points back, starting to lose all signs of life. Real quick, if you'll notice, there was some teams that didn't get mentioned in the schedule this week. That's because Aston Villa and Manchester City are playing in the League Cup final this Sunday. So, yay! I'm sure it'll be a great game, guys. It'll be super, super duper great. Super duper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, now to the Champions League. You thought you were going to get off Real, but no. We'll save that for last as we go through the rest of this week's matches. We'll kick it off with, we're saving that for last because going into that match and even 60 minutes into that match, it was looking like a really dark time for English football. We had 3 teams play, and none of them scored a goal. Remember that English football renaissance we were talking about like a couple months ago? Not looking so hot at the moment. Bayern Munich just making Chelsea look silly. Serge Gnabry with a 3-minute brace in the second half. Robert Lewandowski adding an extra away goal for the German side. And noted manslaughterer Marco Alonso, I didn't say that, no, got himself a red card and will miss the next return leg against Bayern Munich. You never know. Crazier things have happened. But, Wes, I can't imagine a world where Chelsea comes back against Bayern in the next leg. Or sorry, next time.
No, Bayern, I don't think Bayern amazing by any means. They're a team that can turn it on and have those spurts. But, I mean, Bayern, we've seen it in Germany. I mean, they're not these world beaters.
Right.
For whatever reason, Serge Gnabry just loves London.
Yeah.
By the way, just a reminder, Arsenal sold him for $5 million. So, good job, Arsenal. That was a finger selling that, by the way. So, good job, Arsenal. You're still the gift that keeps on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Chelsea just don't have that it factor. They don't have I don't think they have any chance. They don't have the experience. And, I mean, in all fairness, they just don't have the horses. Bayern are the best team in the Bundesliga, 4th best team in the Premier League, who might not really be the 4th best team in the Premier League. So, I mean, I'm not. I have as little level confidence in Chelsea as anyone could have going in.
Well, another team that you might have a little more confidence in after a down day, Lyon gets the somewhat surprising 1-0 victory over Juventus, even though the team tried to downplay it a little bit afterwards. And you do have to imagine Juventus always can come back strong, especially heading back to Turin. This is someone we kind of joked a little bit about a couple weeks ago, talking about PSG's chances. He's like, well, they got to play Lyon, and it's like, yeah, but Lyon's kind of whatever. They are now 90 minutes away from knocking out Juventus, which would be monumental for them. But of course, Wes, that is going to be an insanely tough task as they head to Italy in a couple weeks.
I'm going to tell you this. Man, Juventus. Juventus get off sometimes. I mean, obviously, they're Juventus, and they have Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm just going to say this. If it wasn't for Cristiano Ronaldo, God, Juventus would fucking suck. And that's saying something. I mean, you've got a past his prime Ronaldo, basically just a poacher at this point. You know, Maurizio Sarri. Oof. That guy has an amazing age. Because I still can't figure out how the hell he got the job. I mean, he finished 4th at Chelsea with the title-winning team. Well, 2 years before. You know, the vaunted Sarri ball has not been on display since he left Napoli. And yet this guy gets the biggest job in all of Italian football. With basically a team to win it all. And Sarri's like this close to shitting dead with that team. I'm not impressed with you. I'm really not impressed. I mean, they're locked in a battle for Serie A, a really flawed Inter team, and a Lazio team that talent-wise should be nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be real. What Lazio's doing is incredible. Napoli stink this year, which I think is.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, I mean, and then that happens. But that's given them in Serie A they stink, and that's given them some breathing room. Because you know a lot of these Napoli teams from the last few years would have been coming down hard after them. I mean, I'll still be very shocked if Juventus don't go through. But I think that this match has exposed Juventus to a level where I don't see how you can honestly call them one of the favorites in the tournament.
Yeah.
They're not on the same level. To me, they're not on the same level with Liverpool. You know, once again, we'll get to that. God, I mean, as I sit here and say it out loud, I think it's been very well put that, damn it, this year is really wide open.
Very, yeah. I think especially
Liverpool,
if Atletico managed to shock the world and survive Anfield, then it's literally any of the last 8 teams could probably win it.
Because, well, and obviously we know that City are very flawed at the back. But one we'll get to. I think, you know, City and Liverpool are the 2 favorites for this tournament. And it's just because, you know, on their day, City can outplay on their day. It's just, do they show up on that day? And does Pep completely overthink shit too much, which he almost did today? I just, from what we're seeing, I don't see Juventus as being who are kind of your two favorites at this tournament. I don't think I see them on the level with Barcelona, who were not impressive.
Ooh, yeah.
And who are not overall, with their dire injury.
Mm-hmm.
So Leon, you went and got. They can do it in Turin, but I think Juventus have kind of got caught with a. Right now it's honestly it's halfway through the big fight.
Mm-hmm.
You think about the Champions League as a prize fight. You're halfway through right now. I think Juventus are staggering from a big left hook.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're the big favorite. They're the champ. They're the big favorite. How do they come out of this corner for the? Going to be interesting.
Very, very interesting. Also is going to be, as we just talked about, Barcelona. They had a 1-1 draw against Napoli over in Italy. Dries Mertens with the opening goal, just a lovely little shot that just kept the keeper frozen for Barcelona in the 30th minute. Antoine Griezmann, though, answering in the second half at just before the hour mark with some lovely football from Barcelona. Some of the only lovely football they really played on the day. But Wes, I mean, this is a Barcelona team that's gotten caught out a couple times now in the Champions League over the last couple years. It happened a little bit against Liverpool last year. It happened against Roma 2 years ago. And now here's another team, Napoli, who can just pop up and maybe snag a big of an upset here and knock out Barcelona, having already drawn them 1-1.
It's going to be interesting. Napoli did a really good job in that match. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that match was a complete slog, by the way. Terrible football to watch. But really, for Napoli,
great.
You can almost compare Napoli in that match to Atletico Madrid against. They got their goal, they got their lead, and then it was like, shut up shop and get the hell out of here. Atletico were able to do it. Barcelona, with their really only good chance of the game, Griezmann was able to finish it. That's really the difference in where those two legs stand right now. And Barca are in a good spot. I mean, they're Barca. With Barca right now, you kind of figure them Liverpool. It's like, okay, it didn't go their way in the first, but more than likely they're going to pull it out. They're going to figure out a way. They're going to pull it out. But Barca just, God, they showed no real impetus to go forward. With the new manager, Setien?
Yeah.
Whatever. They made such a big deal of, you know what I saw in that? I saw a hell of a lot of sideways and back. It was dull. It was slow. It was, we must build from the back. Well, that's great. But the whole thing that always made Barca was, you had a lot of the sideways and backwards passing, but then interspersed with it, you saw the cutting edge from guys like Xavi and Iniesta, who were able to pick locks and, suddenly they could just put these glorious, picture-perfect forward passes going in onto the likes of Messi and in later days Suarez and Neymar and David Villa when he was there. They were able to find those guys making moves and be able to unlock defenses. I just don't think Barcelona's midfield is that good. And now, really, I mean, when you start looking at the second leg, Vidal is out from the red card. I want to say, is Piqué suspended?
I don't think so.
There's a second player who I think yellow card accumulation is.
Let me look real quick.
I want to say it's Piqué, or it might be Busquets, and now, I don't think it's Busquets. I think Busquets is just hurt.
Maybe it actually was Busquets. Actually, now that I think about it, and now that I'm re-looking up the match history here, I think it was Busquets. I think you're right. I will confirm this though.
But I mean, you are looking at a Barcelona team that second leg. Either way, I mean, they're going to be lacking some guys.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they're gonna have to figure out a way to get this done. Obviously, we know they're limited front. The emergency signing who had a really good La Liga debut.
Mm-hmm.
He's not available to play in the Champions League. That doesn't help him there. I mean, still really good up front. I mean, God, you're still running Griezmann and Messi up front. So
it's pretty good.
I want to see if Barca's going to try to plan. And they got to do something. I think they got to do something.
Yeah.
But they should go through.
Should.
Really? I mean, it's kind of a wait-and-see approach. It's like, which Barcelona are we going to see in this?
Yeah. It's a really weird time in the Champions League. And I think it's punctuated by our final match we're going to talk about. The one that gives English fans hope that something good can come out of this Champions League. Manchester City beats Real Madrid in Madrid 2-1, a come-from-behind victory. Isco with a bit of a goal against the run of play, 60 minutes in. But then Gabriel Jesus heads City equal in the 70th minute. And then Raheem Sterling is fouled in the box. And De Bruyne makes the penalty in the 83rd minute to absolutely destroy Real Madrid. And of course, along with that, Sergio Ramos getting a straight red. We'll see him miss the next leg. This is a match, Wes, where City were probably the better club on the day for long stretches, but still to see this team come from behind at Real Madrid, no less, I think is a huge boon for this team that may have a little bit of an extra chip on their shoulder with all the Champions League news that came out over the last few weeks, and all the issues with that. This is, we said, or I may have said, I don't know can't remember exactly if you agree with me or not, but last week or 2 weeks ago when we were previewing these things, we thought, well, this is City's first big test in a round of 16 in a while. Like it's been like Shakhtar or Porto or someone like that. And now they were like, if they can get past Real Madrid in the round of 16, maybe this is finally the year they break through. Well, they're really close to doing that now as they head back to Manchester.
I think they're extremely
Okay.
I think they've caught Real Madrid at just the right moment.
Okay.
This is a Madrid team that had been playing really well, and suddenly in the last couple of weeks, it's kind of gone to shit for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at their league form. They've lost a few games in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Some injuries have caught up with them. And I think right now, at least today, City walked into the perfect time to play.
Okay.
We'll see what happens now in a few weeks if Madrid can get things back up and running. But for City, it was very impressive, especially to go down a goal on the road and then to come back and not only win, but to score two crucial away goals.
Huge. Huge.
Because you can't really see City being shut out at home.
Mm-hmm.
Which means, as of right now, Real Madrid have to score twice. And they have to go win by 2 goals right now. If they win 2-0, they got.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to right now. They've got to be gunning to win 2-0, and I don't see how you shut out City at home.
Yeah.
And Madrid are finding themselves in real trouble right now, I think.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, especially again without Ramos, which is we take no pleasure in, but definitely pretty fun to see that. And that does set up a very, very interesting second round of action here in the round of 16 here.
Hell yeah!
Only 2 of the 8 I'd say are kind of decided. Potentially Atalanta with a 4-1 lead already over Valencia. That one might be kind of done. And then, again, Bayern versus Chelsea. Bayern leading 3-0 heading back to the Allianz. That one's probably done as well. But
I have more faith in Atalanta. Potentially, I can see Atalanta Valencia turning into one of these crazy high-scoring ties.
Okay.
Because I'm not exactly trusting Atalanta's, especially going on the road. And Valencia did get an away goal.
That's true.
Now, Atalanta are very much in control of that tie.
Mm-hmm.
That's one, I could see all of a sudden, looking up in the corner and be like, holy shit, it's 4-3. What the hell is going on here? It's like, where are they at on aggregate now? I could see something crazy happening in that. But, so to me, really the only one that I bet the farm on would be Chelsea Bayern at this point.
All right. Well, and the rest of them are either level or just a 1-goal difference. So plenty still to play for, starting back up on March 10th when Atlanta and Valencia do take to the pitch, as well as Tottenham and Leipzig. And then on March 11th, it will be at Anfield as Liverpool look to reverse it against Atletico, as well as PSG looking to strike back down 2-1 against Dortmund. That's another one. You talk about the Atlanta-Valencia one being kind of crazy. Yeah. That one you might look in the top and it might be 3-3. Not an aggregate on the day. It might be 3-3.
And just the later that one gets from PSG.
Oh boy.
And the more Neymar decides he's got to do it all by himself. And then Mbappe's standing out on the wing. What the fuck are you doing? And not getting the ball, and that one has so much, as we like to say, delicious possibilities to it.
A lot of people's futures with that club might be decided in those 90 minutes.
Because if they go out in the round of 16 again,
it's time to blow it up.
Pretty much guarantee Tuchel's gone.
Yeah.
I could see Mbappe trying to be like this out of here this summer. Find me somewhere to go. Liverpool and Mbappe 2020. Yeah. Neymar. There are still rumors swirling around that Neymar and Barcelona agreement already in place, and that Barcelona are going to come back in this summer, and that Neymar is going to force their hand. What are they going to do with Mauro Icardi? Cavani is most likely gone.
Yep.
I mean, this elite strike force for PSG could all fall apart in the next few months.
Yeah.
And if they're out of the team, the pressure's going to be insane. I mean, we're going to win France. Big freaking deal. Who cares?
Yeah.
This PSG project was never about winning. Now, you had to do that to establish that dominance. But this project was about winning the championship. And if you've got the most expensive player in the world, the most expensive teenager in the world, and you've got just all these stars lined up all around the pitch, and you can't get out of the round of 16 against legitimately like the second, maybe third best team in Germany.
Gots to go situation. So big things coming there. Do want to mention, we didn't really talk about it, but just did want to mention real quick, in that Real City matchup, Eden Hazard did pick up an injury about a week ago, and he missed that match and will probably be out for quite a decent while. So that's not great. I'm sorry, that was actually from a while ago. My apologies. But he did miss that match. So Real really struggling there. Real quick, on to the Europa League. Again, real quick. The other great English hope, Wolves pounded Espanyol 4-0 last week. Now they got to go to Spain and do it again. We believe in you, boys. Take home the Europa Trophy. United barely got a draw with Club Bruges. Once again,
Simone Mignolet
James Corden rears his ugly head again. And then Arsenal needed a late goal to get one up in their aggregate. So not a great week for English football. But might look up. And those matches, of course, play.
Wolves are carrying the flag.
There it is. The English flag going forward. Real quickly into news and notes here. As we always like to do, we like to pimp an athletic article. Wes, anything that you want to pimp out from the Athletic? Again, doesn't have to be football. You're very big on bringing the non-football athletic stuff to the table here.
Snap. Let me get to some real quick. I haven't been at work this week. So.
I'll do one real quick then while you get one.
Go ahead.
I thought this was fascinating, and it's actually a nice little segue from what we were just talking about. This was an article from a couple days ago by Sam Lee and Raphael Honigstein. Guardiola's Champions League curse by the people who were there. This is a fascinating thing. It goes back to his time in Germany. When we were just starting this podcast, and the whole overthinking thing that he tends to do. And I mean, just beyond being a great insight into obviously Pep's preparation for matches, it's just a really good piece on dispelling or buffeting, depending on how you want to read it, some of the things around how Pep deals with the Champions League. Wes even sort of alluded to it earlier, that he almost got it wrong again today. But it's a fascinating article with a lot of quotes from a lot of people. So I highly recommend taking a little bit of time out to go check that article. It is great. So that is my article that I would like to pimp out. Anything from you, Wes?
As you said, I like to hit the non-football stories. Daniel Bard.
Oh yeah, he's coming back.
Daniel Bard is coming back, of course, basically a decade ago.
Yeah.
Daniel Bard, that we knew Daniel Bard well because I was a stud at the university.
Yeah.
We both played multiple times. He kind of, in college, he somewhat took a back seat to Andrew Miller.
Yeah.
And the dude was still a freaking first rounder, and Boston got him. He comes up and he's throwing, has a freaking sinker that just made you want to cry when you had to face. And the Red Sox had him and John Papelbon ungodly at the back of the games. And they were like the sickest duo in baseball. And suddenly Daniel Bard just lost control of his pitches a couple of years later.
Yeah. God, that was weird.
And has basically been out of baseball since. Has been coaching. Apparently was in the Diamondbacks coaching organization. And it ended up with a tryout, or basically an open tryout, and now has a contract from the Rockies.
Yeah. Great story.
It's great for Daniel Bard. Once again, a guy I really enjoyed watching. So I'm down with that. Good article on Francisco Lindor. Jason Stark talking about, was it Jason Stark? Yeah, it was Jason Stark.
I read that one too. That was
it basically starts with baseball is broken.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah. It's not a good picture in that article.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a happy article. Oh, we love Francisco Lindor. No, Francisco Lindor.
Yeah.
But basically, what's going to happen with Francisco Lindor is baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, here you are. You're an organization, an absolute cornerstone of your organization, and you're forced to trade.
Yeah.
Because you can't keep up with it. And, the Red Sox don't quite have as much grievance here as, Cleveland does. I mean, Cleveland can't sign him. Cleveland can't afford that. So it is sad. But, I mean, the writing on this is good.
So good.
Yeah. Good, interesting article. When I read about a sleeve that he's wearing, a sleeve on his pitching arm that monitors a lot of the things going on in his arm, blood flow,
interesting,
things of that sort. it like tells a percentage of velocity that you're throwing. It's like, oh yeah, you're throwing it about shit. That's cool as hell.
Wow.
So that was on there. That was really neat. As for the football, I mean, there's always good football. A good article, 25 years on, Graham was sacked by Arsenal. I love reading this shit about late 80s. Well, like getting into the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
About the early years of the Premier League. It is so fascinating. And that's one that I really liked. There's a chasm between Championship 1. Everybody talks about the money between the Championship and the Premier League. And it is big, obviously, but it's, going down to League One is almost like the real death sentence. Yeah. Because from there, the money really starts to dry up. Mm-hmm. And it is very hard. You might back, out of League One to get out of the championship, but it is really out from there and get yourself back moving towards Premier League. Right. So, just as always, I mean, there's great articles.
Absolutely. This one coming out, this is one we'll talk about a little bit. This one, I believe, is from about 3 days ago, or maybe it was just yesterday. Actually, it was just yesterday. Matt Slater. I remember my jaw kind of dropped when I started reading this. There is a new Champions League. Stop me if you've heard this one before. There's a new Champions League shakeup plan in place. This one being proposed by the Danish champions FC Copenhagen, according to Matt Slater at The Athletic. Their proposal would be that the top 4 leagues get to keep their 4 Champions League slots, but they don't necessarily put them straight into the group stage. Instead, the 79 teams that join the competition every year would be sorted by their coefficient, and wherever you are in the coefficient determines where you start, whether that's the group stage or the qualifying round immediately before it or the very first qualifying round. And it's kind of insane. It's to fix kind of what they call the Ajax problem, which is that Ajax made the semifinal last year and has done pretty well overall the last couple of years, but because they are playing in a lower league, they still have to qualify to get into the group stage of the Champions League. And that is kind of an interesting thing. But then you think about a team like Leicester or like this year, like Leipzig, which this article mentions. And it's like they would have to start almost at the very bottom to actually try to make it up there. And that is kind of a rough go. Celtic was one of the people who are kind of promoting this. Celtic actually ended up losing to Cluj out of Romania. Just a fun name to say, Cluj. Which knocked them down in one of the qualifying rounds. And there's been like some modifications maybe proposed, like, hey, if you finish in the top 2 of one of the big leagues, you're guaranteed group stage. But if you're 3rd or 4th, you go in wherever your coefficient deems you to. They've tried to say, well, hey, if you're like Liverpool, your coefficient's high enough where as long as you finish in the top 4, you're going to the group stage. It doesn't matter. But for some teams that are like constantly like doing well in lower leagues, your coefficient will be high enough where maybe you can skip having to go through those really tough qualifying rounds that start very early, very, very early in the calendar. So Wes, I'm not sure how much you read about this, but I know we've gone through a lot of Champions League proposals, from Super Leagues to expansion to all this. What are your thoughts of ranking teams and starting them by their recent Champions League play history instead of just based on what league they're in?
So it makes sense. It makes more like the smaller leagues. Mm-hmm. It seems like it would help them, which tells me that it will never happen. Because if it does, then suddenly Juventus's, Real Madrid's. Fuck you, Super League.
Yeah.
How dare you, us to have to, not automatically get everyone into stages. So, I mean, to me, it's almost, I hate to say, it's almost a waste of breath because it'll all get shot down in flames anyway because the biggest clubs will just cry Super League. If you, I mean, God, they've given them the automatic.
Yeah.
Basically to appease those clubs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a way to appease them. Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world with Ajax, Ajax have had to go through this year.
Oh, were you asking me?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, stating in general. Why should Ajax have had to go through after what they did last year? Shouldn't have had to go through qualification, but they did. Because, they just won the Dutch league. Mm-hmm. So, once again, I mean, it just, I hate to say, I mean, it comes down to, it's a nice pipe dream, but it's not.
Yeah, that's...
It's kind of like watching the Democratic debate. It's like, y'all have some nice pipe dreams. It's not going to happen.
It is. That's, I think you brought up maybe the scariest part of any sort of reform is that if the big clubs just don't like it, then this is finally the thing that just makes the Super League happen, which I think we're both in alignment. It would be pretty awful. And,
it would be great for 16 teams.
Yeah, exactly.
For the fan experience, it would suck. Mm-hmm. I mean, as a fan, and I'll just say it, as a fan of a team who would be easily in there right now, it's not like I'm not going to watch it. It's not like I wouldn't be pulling for my team. But at the same time, I mean, it's just, ugh. I mean, you lose the sexy, to me, you lose the sexy of what real European competition gives you. The history, the feeling that things can happen. Everything doesn't have to bring to the. It doesn't have to be the best 16 teams.
Right.
I mean, it's great when you have 13 of the 16 best teams in, but damn, you know what? When somebody gets pretty freaking cool, actually.
Yeah.
Obviously, as long as it's not your team. But,
yeah, of course.
No one wants to be Inter and get out. I mean, that's why we watch it, man. That's why we want the unexpected to happen from time to time. Not our team.
Yes.
But, yeah, I mean, there's such a fine line that UEFA, because UEFA are almost dead in the water if Super League actually happens.
Yeah.
They could have all the secondary competitions they want. Everybody knows this whole thing's driven by the Champions League. No one watches Europa unless you're playing.
Yeah.
Or unless you're just like a complete football glutton, of which I'm not. I didn't watch Chelsea. I didn't watch the Arsenal last year. The last time I watched the Europa.
When's that?
Was Liverpool Sevilla.
Hey, there it is.
I mean, sorry. How many times I've watched the Europa final when Liverpool played Sevilla? Sorry, not sorry at all.
Not sorry.
I'm not sorry at all, but I mean that's but Champions League, it doesn't matter. I mean, shit. I mean, we stood in the claustrophobic pub one day and watched when it was like 98 degrees inside with no air circulation. We watched Real Madrid and Juventus.
Yes.
We didn't care. It was a Champions League final. That's all we cared about.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's what it is, man.
Yeah. So, we'll see. I doubt, as you said, the big clubs will allow this to happen.
I just don't see any huge sweeping changes to the Champions League coming anytime soon, unless it's a big time reaction thing.
Mm-hmm. So,
and a reaction as in Super League. So.
Lastly, real quick note: Juventus and Inter will actually be closed to fans this week, and it's not for the usual Italian reason of racism. This time,
some of the usual Italian reasons of violence or racism.
Yeah, this is to bring it back to a more serious note. Now that I've made a big joke of it, there are big scares of the coronavirus going on in Italy right now, and so the Juventus Inter match, along with 5 others, will be played beyond closed doors. So this is a thing where we are seeing it now in Italy. We could see it potentially, depending on how the virus
in particular, northern.
Yes,
is where all the behind the closed doors matches are being taken place. Actually, is northern Italy.
Yes, the ones in the south, from including Lazio, Bologna, Napoli, Torino, and Cagliari, Roma, will have fans in attendance. So that will be interesting to see. And again, we talked about Italy and Barcelona, or Napoli and Barcelona playing. We've talked about Juventus and Lyon playing. Lyon now has to travel to Juventus. These are going to become real concerns. I don't think they're going to move a Champions League match. I don't know if maybe they would play that match without fans. It would be very interesting, but this is going to be a real thing that UEFA especially is going to have to start dealing with now, as well as heading into Euro 2020. That is going to be a very big concern moving forward here. So.
Tell me the only thing that can stop England is a pandemic.
I know that feel, bro. I know that feel right now.
Damn pandemic, they've been practicing.
Oh, man. So that's going to do it for news and notes. Let's quickly hit the watch for Wes. What you watching in the week that was, the week that will be? Have we reached the finale of The Sopranos yet?
Literally, that is all I have.
Hey.
Is episode 21, season 6.
Hooray.
Oh my goodness. So many things happening in the last episodes where the West face was made. And, I was like, holy shit, let me rewind that. It's just, God, what a show. What a show.
Apparently it was pretty good.
Yeah, apparently it was pretty good, and I am on my confirming it. That James Gandolfini, he's a big future ahead of him, I think. Right? Sucks, man. Jesus.
Oh, man.
Never really cared about James Gandolfini. My God, no, we've lost this man. No.
Now you realize the problem.
No. Now I understand why it was such a big deal when he.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the next show I'm going to start on. I'm going to start at the very beginning of.
What was that?
Better Call Saul.
Oh, okay. Yes.
The spin-off prequel of Breaking Bad with Saul Goodman.
Yes.
They've just started the new season of that.
Mm-hmm.
I can go back and watch that on it's on Netflix. So I can start that from the beginning and go there. Took the little Foreign Affair podcast Princess to the movies this past weekend. Mm-hmm. And we went and saw Call of the Wild, starring Harrison Ford.
Oh, it's the dog movie.
Oh my goodness. It was very good. It was very touching, very moving.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of CGI in it.
Oh, okay.
I believe all the dogs were dogs. But it was good. It was very good. Obviously. I had to read it for school. I did a book report on Call of the Wild in fourth graders.
Okay.
So, I knew what was going to happen. But, my daughter is a big fan of dogs. She loves dogs. Mm-hmm. And I knew, with the adventure aspect of it, nowadays movies don't worry about so much things like dialogue. They kind of keep moving and keep the excitement up, and I thought it'd be a good one for her. And she thoroughly enjoyed it. She really enjoyed it a lot. So it was a good, fun movie to go see. The Invisible Man, I believe, is just coming out, and that's one I'm pretty interested to see. It's kind of the updated version story, obviously, but I'm trying to think who's in it. Her name is Elizabeth. What's your name, Elizabeth? I've seen her in some stuff.
I'm looking it up right now for you.
As am I. Elizabeth Moss.
Yes.
Is your star in it. And she's like, if you don't recognize her, I know who she is. She's been in stuff I've seen.
Handmaid's Tale.
That's right. She's the Handmaid's Tale. And she was in Mad Men.
Yes, also Mad Men.
That's right. Actually,
I believe that was her breakout role, actually, with Mad Men.
Yeah, Mad Men was. That was it. That's okay. That's right.
I should also say, real quick, that was her breakout role. She was in The West Wing. I just remembered it. I think that was actually her first role, was The West Wing. She was the person's daughter.
Was married to Fred Armisen for...
Didn't know that. Okay.
Jesus. Decision making. Okay, sweetheart. But anyway, that looks... it looks like a good update. The Invisible Man. We know all about the Invisible Man. This one, apparently... She was the Invisible Man. She was his wife, girlfriend.
Sounds like a girlfriend.
Yeah, and apparently it was an abusive relationship. And from the premise of it, he supposedly dies, kills himself, and in his will it said that he wants to leave $5 million on contingent that she is not classified as being in. So you're like, what the hell? Well, it turns out he uses his invisibility to completely fuck with her mom.
Yay.
Which I'm like, hey, I can get with this. That's what I would do if I was invisible. I would psychologically torture people if I was invisible. So it really looks good. It's got a 91%. IMDb has it a 7.4 out of 10. It says a contemporary adaptation of the novel H.G. Wells and a reboot of the Invisible Man film. So it actually starts.
This week.
It starts this week on Thursday evening. So so that's coming out. That's one I'm definitely planning to go see. I'll tell you, man, there's some good movies coming out. That's almost it's almost like one of my favorite parts now is I have a running list that I update as I go see them. It's like, oh, I gotta see this. So I gotta see this new Bond movie is gonna be coming out soon.
Oh yeah.
I think that's April. I'm stoked for that. The Kingsman is coming out, which is going to go to the Kingsman movies. The Kingsman. And of course we've got Marvel coming.
Yeah. Oh boy, Black Widow's coming. I kind of want to go see Sonic the Hedgehog. Not gonna lie, I've heard it.
Callie went saw it. She liked it.
I've heard enough good things about it. I think I want to go see it. I just
can't see where it would be great. But
I've heard Jim Carrey's really good in it. So if you like crazy Jim Carrey, I mean it. And hey, you watched Parks and Rec. Of course. Do you know who voices Sonic?
Is it Mars?
No, it's the worst person in the world.
Oh God, it's John Ralphio?
It's John Ralphio, baby.
I saw something the other day with Mona Lisa, and she was doing something. I was just, oh God, it's Mona Lisa Saperstein.
She's in
an episode. And everybody looked at me like, what the? I'm like, no.
She's in an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine in one of the earlier seasons, and every time where you watch it, it's like, hey, it's Mona Lisa Saperstein.
Mona Lisa, she's the worst.
Money, please.
Money, please. Yeah, set your car on fire. Money, please. Just give her money. It's easier than that.
That's so true. Oh man. Real quick. Speaking of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, that keeps trucking on. This latest episode ended in a very interesting way that seems to set up the very next episode. They don't usually do like direct continuations unless they're like actual two-parters. But it seems like that's what this is gonna be. Is a little bit of a two-parter here. Didn't see this coming at all. Like at all. So oh boy. This week's episode looks to be a fun one. I won't say anything because I don't know how caught up you are, so I'm not going to say.
I'm not. And just a continuation from this week's discussion. You enjoyed the clip I sent you from the league of basically the uncut version of Adrian.
Yeah, Adrian Pimento, uncensored. Oh man!
Look me in the eye. Happy New Year!
With that, we're gonna end this episode of the Foreign Affair Podcast. Big thanks as always to NGSC Sports. You can find them on social media. You can find Jason Matzoukas on social media. You can also find us on social media. We're on Twitter as a collective at AFA Pod. Wes, you are?
I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21.
I'm at Edward Green. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube via our parent show, The All New Sports Show, and you can email us at allnewsportshow@gmail.com. Thanks to our podcast providers, including Podbean.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio app, Google Play Music, and the iTunes Music Store. I'm starting to speed through this because I can tell my voice is starting to go, and I'm feeling that rawness in the back of my throat. That Tyler's your sex tape. So with that, before we get out of here, Wes, anything else you want to add?
College baseball, we freaking love you. And you're baseball Brit and the Mountaineers about start this. But tonight, they go to Winston-Salem and they beat the 24th ranked team.
Oh my
Wake
God.
Forest.
Oh my God.
All right, go get on the happy. The Pirates threw the old sweep down this weekend. I think it was Georgia Southern. Then we went and beat Elon. So ECU 7-1. We're off to a good start. Carolina dropping 2 or 3 to Dallas Baptist. Ooh. And they're out of the top 25. Duke and NC State are like 13 and 14 in the top 25. Interesting little tournament coming up this weekend. ACC Big Ten Challenge.
Yeah.
NC State and Duke are going to Minneapolis to take on, top of my head, I believe it's Minnesota, Purdue, and Iowa. And they're going to be playing at where the Minnesota Vikings play their football games.
Wow, I did not know that. Yeah, I see it here, though. Yeah, they're North Carolina, Purdue.
Did I get those 3 right? Okay, it was Purdue.
Yep. And then, that is
Iowa and Minnesota.
Duke and Iowa, and then NC State, Minnesota. That is crazy.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. I wonder if they're going to travel together.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it kind of make sense?
It might, yeah. Huh.
So, so I thought that was really cool. They'll be heading there. The Claire is this week, or the Keith LeClaire.
Oh, yeah.
Tournaments this weekend. Ole Miss, Indiana, and can't remember the 4th team that'll be there coming to Greenville, but Ole Miss obviously connected with
Cliff Godwin.
Cliff Godwin. Jesus, I totally blanked for a second.
It's late. It's fine.
Of course, was the assistant coach and recruiting coordinator before coming in and setting the head job at East Carolina. So for him, that's a really cool one to get Ole Miss up there. So we're looking forward to a great weekend in Greenville of some good baseball. Yeah, man. It's freaking college baseball season, man. It doesn't get better. We love college baseball.
And it's not even that cold. So
yeah, it's not that cold.
You gotta love it. You gotta
Sat through frigid ones before. It's not quite frigid.
It's true. So thankful for that as we get started up here, winding down the show. Thank you so much for joining us here on this edition of the Foreign Affair Podcast. We'll be back next week to recap the Premier League and, of course, that super big League Cup final that's taking place this weekend. I promise you it's a big one. So until next time, everyone, stay safe and enjoy the football.
And as I said earlier, good night, Sergio. Your sleep time, Mr. Ramos, because you ain't playing in the second leg, my friend.
I remember, I think it was a couple years ago, he intentionally tried to get a yellow card in the round of 16, so he would miss before they got to the round of 8, and then they ended up losing anyway. And this time he didn't mean to and got suspended again anyway. So you love to see it.
Couldn't happen to a nicer fella.
You love to see it.
Not still bitter about Kiev anyway.
No. Not at all.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on NGSCsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.